My heart is broken. Alec Baldwin breaks silence after accidentally shooting cinematographer Halyna Hutchins dead on set. Welcome back to Binge-Worthy Network. A horrific accident at a movie set resulted in a death of the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins and a serious injury. But before we jump in, hit that like and subscribe button to be notified and updated on the latest Hollywood drama and news. On October the 21st, 2021, jaw-dropping news hit international headlines. During the movie set of the upcoming western Rust, a prop gun was fired, which resulted in the devastating death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. The prop gun, which was fired by the actor and producer Alec Baldwin, seemed to have contained live rounds. Once the gun was fired, it took the life of the young cinematographer Halyna, while it caused a serious injury to the director, Joel Souza. And here is apparently how the whole thing happened. According to insiders and movie extras, there was some tension on the set of Rust. A few days before the shocking shooting took place, crew members apparently walked off of the film set because of work conditions. Multiple publications and Hollywood insiders soon released information concerning the shooting. According to LA Times, here is why Halyna and Joel were accidentally shot during a specific scene that included Alec Baldwin. The tragedy occurred Thursday afternoon during filming of a gunfight that began in a church that is part of the old western town at the ranch. Baldwin's character was supposed to back out of the church, according to production notes obtained by the Times. It was the 12th day of a 21-day shoot. Cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was huddled around a monitor lining up her next camera shot when she was accidentally killed by the prop gun fired by Baldwin. The actor was preparing to film a scene in which he pulls a gun out of a holster, according to a source close to the production. Crew members had already shouted "cold gun" on the set. The filmmaking team was lining up its camera angles and had yet to retreat to the video village, an on-set area where the crew gathers to watch filming from a distance via a monitor. Instead, the B camera operator was on a dolly with the monitor, checking out the potential shots. Hutchins was also looking at the monitor from over the operator's shoulder, as was the movie's director, Joel Souza, who was crouching just behind her. Baldwin removed the gun from its holster once without incident, but the second time he did so, ammunition flew towards the trio around the monitor. The projectile whizzed by the camera operator but penetrated Hutchins near her shoulder, then continued through to Souza. Hutchins immediately fell to the ground as crew members applied pressure to her wound in an attempt to stop the bleeding. Just hearing how the incident took place, we can't help but feel heartbroken over the loss of the young talent, Halyna Hutchins. Along with explaining the situation, the Los Angeles Times also commented on why the gun was loaded in the first place. The statement goes on to say, "Late Friday, the Associated Press reported that Baldwin was handed a loaded weapon by an assistant director who indicated it was safe to use in the moments before the actor fired it, according to court records. The assistant director did not know the prop gun was loaded with live rounds, according to a search warrant filed in a Santa Fe County court." Early in the day, camera crew arrived as expected at 6:30 a.m. and began gathering their gear and personal belongings to leave, one knowledgeable crew member told the Times. And here is where the story gets even more shocking. As shared by some of the insider information, many members of the crew actually walked off of the Rust film set because of the unsafe conditions provided by the executive producers. Halyna was also said to be the person trying to advocate for safer conditions, but her plan and her pleas seemingly failed. Here is why the crew had to walk off and non-union members had to be employed instead. Early in the day, the camera crew arrived as expected at 6:30 a.m. and began gathering their gear and personal belongings to leave, one knowledgeable crew member told the Times. Labor trouble had been brewing for days on the dusty set at the Bonanza Creek Ranch near Santa Fe. Shooting began on October the 6th, and members of the low-budget film said they had been promised the production would pay for their hotel rooms in Santa Fe. But after filming began, the crews were told they instead would be required to make the 50-mile drive from Albuquerque each day rather than stay overnight in nearby Santa Fe. That rankled crew members who worried that they might have an accident after spending 12 to 13 hours on the set. Hutchins had been advocating for safer conditions for her team and was tearful when the camera crew left, said one crew member who was on the set. As the camera crew, members of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, spent about an hour assembling their gear at the Bonanza Creek Ranch, several non-union crew members showed up to replace them. Two of the knowledgeable people said, "Corners were being cut, and they brought in non-union people so they could continue shooting," the knowledgeable person said. The shooting occurred about 6 hours after the union camera crew left. Now that we know a bit of information about how the shooting took place, let's see how Alec Baldwin is handling this entire tragedy. As we've mentioned, it was the Hollywood actor and producer who fired the gun and fatally shot the cinematographer. After this jaw-droppingly horrific tragedy, Baldwin took to his Twitter account to share his thoughts and feelings. As one would expect, Alec had trouble articulating the entire event. His tweets read, "There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Halyna Hutchins, a wife, mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours. I am fully cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred, and I am in touch with her husband, offering my support to him and his family. My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who knew and loved Halyna." As soon as this shocking news made its way online, thousands and millions began the conversation of who was to blame for the shooting and the injury of the film crew. Some people thought Alec should be reprimanded for his actions, while others believed it was not the actor's fault as he had no responsibility to check the gun. Here's what the general public had to say about this matter. "Thank you. She's my friend. Her son is my family. It was not your fault, and her final moments, I am certain, were spent feeling so happy she was filming you. It's a tragic accident. You had no ill intention. I hope one day you can find forgiveness for yourself. You're not a bad person. You must believe that. Seek help to help you navigate through this tragedy. Sending a huge hug from the UK." The number one rule for guns is you treat every gun as if it's loaded. It doesn't matter if it's a toy gun, a prop gun, or an actual gun with firing pins in it. You were handed a prop gun that should have been checked by at least 3 people before someone put it in your hand. Be kind to yourself. This was a tragic accident. Prayers to her family. It wasn't his intention to kill anyone. He's an actor doing his job, shooting what he thought was a prop gun. It's a very, very sad accident, but he shouldn't be burned at the stake for it. Alec Baldwin is also a victim of this tragic tragedy. He did not kill this woman. It was the negligence of people who brought live ammunition onto that set that are responsible. CNN also reported on the news, declaring the same notion of Alec not knowing about the gun being loaded. The article even goes on to say a GoFundMe page was created for Halyna's family and her 9-year-old son, according to CNN. According to the affidavit, Baldwin was handed one of the 3 prop guns by assistant director David Halls that were set up in a cart by an armorer for the movie Rust. Halls did not know there were live rounds in the gun, the affidavit said. But when the actor fired the gun, a live round hit Hutchins, 42, in the chest, and wounded Souza, 48, who was nearby, according to the affidavit. Hutchins was pronounced dead at the hospital after being airlifted, the affidavit says. A verified GoFundMe page created for Hutchins' family raised more than $100,000 in less than a day. Hutchins is survived by her husband and 9-year-old son, the page says. Before Thursday's shooting, some crew members quit the production over concerns related to safety, including gun inspections and COVID-19 protocols not being followed, according to the Los Angeles Times and other media reports. 3 crew members who were on the set last weekend told the Times that there were 2 accidental prop gun discharges before Thursday. The rounds were accidentally fired on October the 16th by Baldwin's stunt double after he was told the gun was cold. 2 of the crew members who witnessed the discharges told the newspaper. The film's production company told Deadline in a statement that it was not notified of official complaints regarding weapon or prop safety on set. Again, we are devastated by what happened to the talented Halyna Hutchins and director Joel Souza. But what do you think about this situation? Do you think it was Alec Baldwin's fault? Who was to blame in this fatal tragedy? Do you accept Alec's statements? Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications and share this video with your friends. Goodbye, everyone.